Okay, so I ordered one of those Crosley radios off of eBay. It was a good buy it now price, and the shipping was cheap, so I took a gamble. Well, it came today, and it came UPS. I think I ordered this, oh, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday, and it's Thursday now, and that's pretty good. I just wish the other shipping carriers, I wish that they were that good. And it doesn't seem that it was packed too bad, but we'll figure that out once we open it. Now, if this was an old, like an actual antique radio, yeah, this would be unacceptable, and it would probably end up all in a million pieces. This is what I ordered. I ordered one of these radios. Now, I would love to try and see if I could get some of these made still, but probably not. I would totally get some of these made, because these are pretty cool. Like, they're early models, like the wooden cathedral models, and like the CR2, 3, and like the one, it looks like a Theta bullet radio, the old Catalan style radio. But what I would do is I would get these, try and see if I could get these imported. But instead of this side-mounted cassette player, I would get Bluetooth, because these cassette decks aren't really that good. Okay, and it says production code October of '88, and I think that's when Crosley started, or the new Crosley brand. These were limited edition. Kind of wish they weren't, but I think they were only made in like the 10,000s, but I'm sure they made more. Collector's edition radio. They marketed these towards old people, like I think like your greatest generation, or even before then, because this is the 80s, and the target demographic for this was probably like 80s, so 80 in the 80s, so probably like 1900s, I don't know, but yeah, it's cheap, but it was a cheap price, so whatever. But yeah, like I said, I would try and get some of these imported, like this model, the wooden cathedral model, like the bullet radio style, and the white one that has little push buttons on the front, but obviously not have the cassette deck with it. Now, I think the same people who brought back the Crosley name, I think they brought back Detrola too, but I think that was only for a little while. I think that was only for a little while. And obviously this thing, its controls are dirty. And this dial is kind of messed up.
I told you.
Back in their earlier days, Crosley had some pretty cool looking models there, or the reproductions. They looked somewhat authentic, but they have two old radios. They have two radios now that would probably the only ones they have that would interest me would be the companion radio and the cathedral model, and I just hope that they keep the companion model around in the same style it is now, with the AM/FM Bluetooth and the same dial and same kind of cabinet, and the same thing for the cathedral model, the full-size cathedral model. I hope they keep those around for many, many more decades, because I like those, and probably if I bought one of those, it'd be used. And what's surprising, I think stuff still says refer servicing to authorized service personnel, or qualified service personnel. Let's get some contact cleaner and try this. I haven't heard this song in forever.
Hey, my life is real great, Phil, I'm well,
And it's sad, not many radios nowadays, they don't have AM radio, which that sucks.
What is he going through again? Just a few decades ago.
Gotta love all that 5G garbage. .4G was fine. You could have just left that alone, but obviously they can't leave well enough alone. Okay, let's try the tape. Came with this inside. It says, "Is it worth the risk?" Don't know. I guess this was like some kind of like keep kids off drugs thing. And speaking of drugs, keeping things off drugs, I heard Brandon, he's handing out free crack pipes to minorities. Yeah, that's smart. Let's enable them instead of like preventing it. You know what? You know, aren't they supposed to be preventing it and not enabling it? Because that's clearly enabling them, and that's just worse. It's going to make everybody worse off. But who am I to talk? Whatever. Okay, let's try this.
Then you will not get caught. However, once a person learns something about the shoplifting situation, comes to understand that the real question...
Oh, it's shoplifting. How long is this? I could use this as a blank tape. Oh, I have a tape that I recorded. It's retrospective pop from the 60s and 70s. Yeah, and that happened. These cassette decks, they still use them on the new models, and they're not really that good. Okay, we'll try a different tape, because I don't want to completely ruin one of my good ones. Let's not use that one. Let's chuck that. We'll use this one that's started unspooling. Now, I think the reproductions that are popular now are the, I think the style is the little, like the cheap Hong Kong, Taiwanese, and Japanese made, like, portable, silver portable AM/FM radios with cassettes in them from the 70s. I think those are the ones that are in style right now. So I guess all the, like the 80s boom boxes that were new when these reproductions were made, those are starting to be the new hot new reproduction stuff, because cassettes they're back. They should start putting cassette players in cars again. That'd be cool. Ford should also go back to making the Crown Vic exactly like its last model year, the 2011, because that was just a great car. It seems to be working okay. Is that a weird angle? Darn it. Let's try this cassette.
That should be asked at the point of the theft. If not, is anyone watching?
Yeah, it pulled that one right out. Okay, now let's open this up, and this is obviously made in China. I mean, what isn't nowadays, unfortunately. Hold on. I just got a little container to put the screws in. I think they could have used more screws. Here, I've got new batteries in the camera, but this is the button assembly up here. And here's the inside. It doesn't look very user service or friendly. I think you'd have to take off this screw. You'd have to take out this whole mechanism up here up front. Yeah, you'd have to take out this whole mechanism up here up front. And wait, I'm trying to think. So you'd have to remove this screw, that screw, I think you'd have to remove these screws around here, and then it would lift out, and then I think you'd have to do something with trying to think. I think you'd have to remove it. It does appear to how to be able to get this thing apart. You take these screws out, and this whole thing will just pop out. But there are a lot of wires attached to it, but I'm sure you could work on it, and it wouldn't be too bad. I wish Crosley still had their older model. I wish that the Crosley importer, I wish that they still had their older models from when they started out. Like these old collectors, limited edition collectors series radios, I wish they still had them and have AM/FM on them, but instead of having the cassette deck have Bluetooth. But yeah, putting this back together, there's like, that screw won't come out because it's stripped and that, but I mean, I wonder how many of these were actually made. They said limited edition, but I think they were actually, more of them are made. And that little bulb right there, it's permanently attached, so once it burns out, your SOL. I'm pretty sure they assumed that the old people buying these, or yeah, I'm sure that they assumed that the old people buying these, they would pass away before these stopped working. That's what I'm assuming that they intended, that the old person, they'd buy this because it would remind them of when they were growing up, and then they'd use it, and they'd sit and listen to their old programs on some old radio shows that they got on cassette, and just listen to that, and then they pass away, and then this just ends up getting tossed in the dumpster because nobody wants it or whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure that their intention was, that the radios the old people would buy them and they'd use them, and then the old people would pass before they stopped working. That's what I'm guessing they assumed. But let me go get the contact cleaner. At least the volume control's easy to get to in this. It's right there. That little thing right here, that's the volume control. Now, I think the Thomas radios, those are a little bit harder to get into, but Crosley, I think they had a Cathedral model with a cassette, I think up until like 2010, 2006, like 2008. They had one. It looked like the later model Thomas radios, probably made in the same factory, but it had that, and it actually, I actually kind of like, I don't know why, but I like these little junky reproductions. For some reason, I like them. And honestly, I'd say that these older reproductions actually are a little bit more accurate than the new ones that have Bluetooth and like a card reader up front here. They don't really look that authentic. And I think that these even came with like a little certificate, said this is made as good as the originals, but probably to convince the old people buying these that they got something real cool, or that they got something that's real quality, but they really didn't. But whatever.
Trust, cornerstone for the proof is
When you get
Okay, so I got it back together. Start out at the bottom end of the dial.
Amazing football player, just a... Too hard. I know this is a good cause. I know this person needs it. Yeah, you know it is because you're dealing with National Aviation Academy. I'm Dave Koch.
welcome back. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out BillsGame.com or give us a call.
Right, and I do the same mix for steak, and the same mix for chicken wings, and the same mix for chicken cutlets. And
Here's Sean Hannity.
maybe I'll eat my...
I think my grandfather's listening to this right now.
I think you would like to know that I'm actually making something not healthy for a Super Bowl party.
What are you making?
I'm making a buffalo chicken dip, and then I'm making football cookies.
It is sad. I remember my grandfather listening to Rush. I miss Rush Limbaugh. He basically saved AM from certain death. And all the celebrities who smeared him. Like, okay, that just because you didn't agree with his opinions doesn't mean you need to smear him and make fun of his passing. You don't do that to people. No matter who they are, you do not, well, but you don't smear people. You don't, no. Especially somebody who passed, you don't like speak ill of them. Don't wish them bad. That's just, you just don't do that to people. That's just wrong.
And
Okay, let's try this tape one more time. Hold on.
Risk versus reward, and also help you develop a personal plan to stop shoplifting permanently. Shoplifting offers a big risk for a relatively small reward. It's a gamble where the odds are often not in your favor. After learning the odds, we strongly urge you to ask yourself, is it worth the risk? As we said earlier, last year there were 2 million people who, in spite of their best efforts, were not able to tell they were being watched when they shoplifted. If you are about to shoplift, then the tendency to focus on whether or not you are being watched is certainly understandable. You conclude that if you are not being watched, then you will not get caught. However, once a person learns something about the shoplifting situation, he or she also comes to understand that the real question that should be asked at the point of the theft is not, is anyone watching, or will I get caught? The important question is it worth the risk?
Really? Why is that the important question?
We at Shoplifters Anonymous are more aware of the risk that shoplifters take because we deal with the problem every day. Most of our contact with shoplifters comes after they have been caught and arrested. We hear from teens how embarrassed they were when they were caught or how angry it made them. We also hear about parents who tell their kids, I thought I could trust you, but now I can't. You're going to have to win my trust back. Most people just do not realize the humiliation involved in being handcuffed, put in a police car, and taken to a police station.
You just don't shoplift. That's just screwed up. You don't. If you want to get something, save up your money and get it. But don't steal it. You don't have to steal to get things. You can buy them. No, don't steal. That's bad. Don't. You can get in so much trouble for it. That's just stupid. Do not do that.
We're an adult.
This darn cassette player keeps eating the tapes.